Mr. Gbaji, thank you for coming on once again. But if you look through, you listen through to the complaint of the ACN, for instance, well, they eventually say they'll be going to the tribunal to challenge that election. While the CPC says, well, they won't go to tribunal, and that's the last we've heard so far. We don't know if that will change subsequently. But then, the reasons he adduced, is that sufficient for the votes explaining why he should not win? Because, I mean, lawyers talk about the judge only adjudicates on what is before him. So those may well be his case, but is it the same thing when it comes to
first and foremost, I am alarmed at the level of the marginal difference is so wide
of the results.
Of the results, 107, then 300, and it's like that state is virtually a one-party state. That is what that is indicating, and that is not true. That could not have been the reflection, the political reflection on the ground.
Now that's 302,000 is for the PDP, and CPC is 107. ACN is next to 241. So it's like a difference of almost less than 100,000 between the PDP and the ACN, and slightly over 100,000 between the ACN and the CPC. So what do you make of that?
From the figures I have seen so far, it will indicate that, well, something must have happened along the way, because in the first instance, I'm surprised that ACN has this strong hold in Adamawa State, and that the feeling everybody had prior to the election was that ACN was going to go neck and neck with the candidate or the PDP. But if ACN is now alleging that something must have gone wrong somewhere along the line, well, of course, like you said, the tribunals are there. It is for you. He who has sat must prove.
Was that the feeling in Lagos? Because remember that, Buba Marwa had been military administrator in Lagos, and, but some people say that he doesn't exactly have the political stronghold in Adamawa, as such.
He's not even the ACN candidate.
The ACN candidate is somebody else, but they say he's backed by Boni Haranu, who was a governor of the state for, 8 years.
But I'm surprised, apart from what your point you have just said, I would have thought that with a lot of misgiving about the activities and the poor performance of the reigning party in that state, ACN should have capitalized on that and then sweep the poll in that state. But if allegations that have been thrown here and there are right as to the malpractices that has occurred during the election, I think ACN will perform better if they can establish their case against PDP at the tribunal. Otherwise, the tribunal will ultimately uphold that election in Adamawa State. Because the issue will now be, if you say we rig, could it have been possible that this figure is almost 100,000 votes? We rig them. But from what the ACN candidate has just said, look, that Adamawa is typically a civil servant state. In other words, 95% predominantly civil service.
That is pure logic now. And you say, well, this talk of the burden of proof resting on them now to prove if truly it was rigged, because what Mr. Sonny Modidafe was saying that, well, he was the ACN returning officer. He specifically said, well, that there were alterations in some resort sheets, and he also said, well, the party will challenge that in court. Now, if we go back to this...
Just a minute. Yes. The man who said that is on the ground. He must have seen those alterations. By the time the matter eventually end up in tribunal, he could establish that as well. These are alterations, and because you must have to come and explain to the court why those alterations existed. If you cannot advance reason, of course, that will be prima facie evidence that the results were falsified. That's facie. But you have to lead evidence to that effect to say, well, this is the authentic result. This is the altered one. Who altered it, and on what ground was it altered?
So those are matters to be
determined. So these are matters for the court. So if they can back it up with sufficient proof that something has happened.
What do you think of him signing the results? Because he says, I'm signing this so that at least to authenticate the fact that I saw what transpired, and not opposed to those who say, I won't sign this result because I don't agree with it.
But the danger of signing is this. If you say you sign, can you ultimately, at the end of the day, begin to complain against what you have signed?
That's what he did.
So we had the reason for doing it. Because the question we ask, not me, but a smart lawyer will ask, was a gun pointed at your head when you sign it, or were you politically intoxicated, drunk when you sign it? Look.
The reason
just a minute. The panel was set up recently by the federal government to look into the affairs of the judge of the Court of Appeal was forced out, and 3 or 4 members of the party of this. Look, I am party to this. I'm a party to this committee proceeding, but I disagree with the conclusion, and therefore we are not signing. You hold your pen to your pocket. I will not sign. So, in other words, you can stand to defend your position. Why did you not sign? For the following reasons. But you cannot. Well, you said there were malpractices here and there, and at the end of the day, you still pick out your pen and then you sign.
Wouldn't anyone ask, why did you sign? I mean, if someone asks why I signed and the reason he gives is strong enough, you don't think that reason would
no, from what I've just analyzed, we'll say that those reasons were cogent enough for you to answer. If I were him, I would not sign.
From the point of law,
I would not sign. I would not sign. To further authenticate and buttress my point that election was massively rigged. Of course, at the time you have signed, let's say we are not, the lawyer will not just jump and say, well, the doctrine of estoppel has caught up with you. Estoppel simply means that I have done this. You now want to turn against it. They say, no, you are stopped. That's your signature, because the essence of signature is to put a touch of finality, a touch of approval. That is your imprimatur on whatever must have happened. So if you disagree with it, what you do is to exercise that last right of option and say, well, I'm waiting for you people. You bring that document to me to sign. I will not sign. So the only thing you can do is, do not prevail. Can prevail on you, please. Let help us authenticate this in a settlement and the rest of them.
Even though
I think I'm not too comfortable
with him signing.
Yeah,
but the Electoral Act does not. If you don't sign, it doesn't invalidate the results either.
But you authenticate and buttress your point that malfeasance, alterations, criminalities has happened. It helps your case.
But look at
your case. That's why some smart people, when they have a cornered issue of fraud or a fraud has happened in that department, the first of all tell you, did I sign anything? That is, I'm not saying that should be used as a criteria. But the first thing is, let there be parading fake document. Is my signature there? It's only when you take it home or you take it to where you are going to actually discover that my signature is not there. But meanwhile, this man participated actively in the whole thing. How do you nail him?
Interesting. But what about the testimony of the observers and monitors? Wouldn't that count for anything? We actually have the track of one of the observers from the Police Service Commission, and he said that the conduct of the elections was exemplary, in the sense that they hope to see this conduct in many other places.
Oh yes.
And there's also the testimony of characters.
From what you just told me now, having regard to the background of where he's coming from, I'm not disparaging anybody, but he said from the police service or whatever he said it coming from. But you must be prepared to tell Nigeria the difference between where he's coming from and the ruling party, and who is expected to support. Such a person can never be a neutral person. What if you're talking about international observers or members of Nigerian Bar Association selected as observers? These are independent thinkers.
We should talk more
or NGOs. Or NGOs that have been sent there as observers. We could listen to them.
He did not exactly comment. Sorry, Sulaiman. He didn't exactly comment on the poll results themselves. When he talked about the conduct of the elections, you know that the atmosphere within which the election is conducted is very important. If they say that we should have 2 policemen at each polling booth, and that criteria is met.
Let me tell you this, Mape. The fact that the election was wholly, completely peaceful. Let me tell you this. Those rigging machineries or those professional riggers, it's not when the election is peaceful they rig. It's not even at the polling booth they rig. It's only between the polling booth and the collecting center.
Actually,
a lot of things happen.
What I'm trying to
those who are saying, the election was peaceful, of course, if I were there, if I participated, you saw people just queuing, templating and coming back. Of course,
what I'm trying to do is put his comments in context. I'm simply saying that his focus was more on the conduct of the election.
Exactly.
But isn't it easier, to say fiddle with the election materials and the votes themselves when the atmosphere is violent and not conducive to the conduct of peaceful elections?
What I'm telling you now, the fact that people conducted themselves peacefully does not deprive those professional riggers from carrying out their wicked intention. It is not always. It is not where people are killing or at the police center there. The point is always between when the voting has ended, then you now begin to transport the voting materials to the collating center. Anything can happen. Even the man who we are quoting now, does you know what happened at the collating center?
Well, Mr. Agbeji, one moment before we move on, very quickly. I think when we talk about observers now, monitors, observers, because we also have at least 3 more elections to go.
Yes.
What should INEC be talking about, looking at when it comes to observers? Who should be getting that kind of accreditation to come as an observer, independent observer or international observer, as the case may be?
It is always the duty of INEC. You submit your application to INEC. We want to come as observers, of course. If you are not a threat, to the security of the nation or to the election itself, of course, they will allow you to come in, because it will help INEC better at the end of the day, because your report will form part of the performance sheet for INEC. INEC will use them as a yardstick and say, well, if I perform creditably well, and even the observers has alluded to this during and after the election. Anything can happen before the election, but after the election, it's always a different cup of tea. And if people are saying that the election had been massively rigged, like my sister said, 100 votes, about 100 votes, marginal difference. Even if it is one marginal difference, people can still contest it. They have the right to say, well, that marginal difference of one, you don't deserve it. I am the one who is supposed to get it. So argument begins here and there. So at the end of anyway, that's why election tribunals are there. Don't be surprised that most of the election, they said it was free and fair now. By the time you get to tribunal, you begin to hear all sorts of revelations coming out from the allegedly peaceful election.
Well, that's why the tribunals are there, as you say. But let's move on to this other matter, the question of state policing in Nigeria. I mean, those who would describe it as a vexed issue, it raises anxiety, rage, but at present security circumstance now, again, they're beginning to talk about it. What do you think of it?
Speaking for myself, and I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of so many Nigerians, the little knowledge of federalism I know definitely has taught me that if a country is running a federal system of government like Nigeria, why should our police be centralized? If you say the state autonomous within the nation called Nigeria, the state should have their own police. But the argument, I do understand the argument by the other side, saying, have we reached that stage? Would they be used used against political opponents? Would they be used to score personal and unprofessional differences that could arise among the citizenry? But I think with time we will overcome such misgiving.
Yeah, but I think
that it's tenable. It's tenable. The Old Western region, they had their local police force. My great-grandfather was a local policeman. He was working for the council. The council had their own. The Western region had their own. There was no conflict. The federal government had. There was no conflict. But if you are copying the federalism as it ought to be, as it practices well, the state, nothing should debate the state.
It was late last year.
If we copy the American system, New York have their own police department. All you need to do is to define the area of jurisdiction for the federal and the state. There are offenses that the state police will now want to go into, and the federal bureau will say, no, that's for us. You answer it. Pass the fight to us, we will do better.
But you know,
so
the argument
once you define the area of definition.
Mr. Agbeji, sorry to button. You know, the argument that has always come. Even the president last year had to also give his voice to all of that. He said he was actually thinking towards that direction until he was cancelled at the last state council meeting, where he was told. He said that in Ilorin specifically. He said, look, that he fears that it will be abused by some state executives. And that is very, very important here, because some of us have seen what is happening in the country. You know, some use different names, they come in different guise. It could be vigilante force, it could be some kind of people getting some kind of uniform. So the president is so skeptical about this.
Suleiman, are you saying there is not going to be inbuilt checks and balances to check against such abuses? I should think that there should be provisions, even in the Constitution, that will make it we make it unconstitutional for you to use the police, for lawful purpose. And if you do that, it should be a ground for impeachment of such a governor. But let me say this: that argument is neither here nor there. We will never advance in this country when we begin to go back to such primordial sentimental argument that will not take us beyond the era of the era of Mongo Park that I thought we have left. How can you say because the governor, the likelihood is not that it has been established, it's not that it has been proven. Just because you sit at the edge of your bed in the room and you say, oh, so and so state is controlled by my opponent, or the opposition are there. Is there no possibility that they will use the state police or their state police against members of my party in that state? What are the law court for? If you are talking about the rule of law, you go to court and vent your anger. If you think that a governor is using the state police for an unlawful purpose, you can go to court.
But those who argue for or against the option of community policing or state policing as it is, why don't they just come up with statistics, facts and figures, why certain things should be or why certain things are not, to help development? But they just make that argument and just go away with it.
We cannot run away from state police. We will get there. Whether the present rulers like it or not, we will eventually have state police. Because if you are talking about federalism in its true sense, then of course.
Yeah, but how do we address their fears?
That's what I'm saying. Checks will have to be put in place.
And you say through the assembly.
Yes.
How possible is that?
It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. All you need to do is to have a structural fundamental amendment to the existing constitution. Because if you talk about, say, a state should pass a law to forbid such a thing, the same state will violate it. But if you talk about provisional amendment to the constitution, the constitution is more respected than than any other law that could be violated. But I am even saying that it's even an impeachable conduct for a state governor to use the police against the interest or against his opponent for no just cause. And are you telling me that the state commissioner of police will be that naive, will be that daft to just down to the whimsicality and caprices of a state governor just because the man is there? Is he going to be there for life? My argument should go further to say that Nigeria has gone beyond that era of rhetoric. The question should be now, what are the comparative advantage Nigeria would derive if we have state police? If the comparative advantage will be more than the setback that will come with it, so be it.
Are the advantages way higher than the disadvantages of having
the advantages far outweigh.
How was it managed? Sorry to butt in. How was it managed, especially during the time of your your grandfather?
Yes.
You talked about. I know full well before independence, and even as at 1966, we still had regional police. So what were they doing that we should have adopted if we were to have state police?
Like in Western region here, there was not incident of abuse were very, very minimal. Very, very minimal. Afterwards, that was the era the likes of the late Chief Rotimi Williams practiced until he died. Because I cannot even remember any case that were reported that were essentially on police abuse or the governor of Western region using the police. Western region was they were too enlightened for that type of thing. And I believe that Nigeria had come of age. Let me just quickly say this. I think about 2 or 3 years ago, a top policeman, still serving, I won't mention his name, he was the secretary to the former Inspector General of Police, Regime. And subsequently, after a month we discussed in his office, I went to see Regime. Then he was the one who eventually attended and gave me whatever we wanted. A month after, he became a commissioner of police. What was he discussing? He told me, he said, "Look, Fred, you have the opportunity, as people know the Constitution. Why don't you people press for state police?" He's now a commissioner of police. You want to tell me he was drunk when he was discussing that with me? He advanced argument for it. And even went to the issue of the Western region. Today is the state commissioner of police in one of the southwest states is still alive. That tells you even that even among the ranks and files of the Nigerian police hierarchy today, some of them are supporting.
But the present
but for selfish political reasons, we are prepared to throw the baby and the bat away, forgetting the goodness.
The present system
that exists.
The present system we have now cannot be reworked in such a way that would remove.
Who is liable, or who do we blame for the present wayward system?
Because the fact that we have state police does not exactly guarantee its effectiveness.
It doesn't guarantee.
It doesn't mean
but it is a fulfillment. It doesn't guarantee, but it's a fulfillment of the principle of federalism and the concept of constitutionalism. I should be able to move to the nearest police station. The governor of the state and the commissioner of police, they should work as party to ensure that crime in the state is reduced to the barest minimum. And I also want to tell you that, if you bring, the police themselves know this. With this argument, I'm going to advance now. If you bring somebody from Sokoto as a DPO for this area, and then you bring an indigenous of this area as the DPO, tell me who do you think will know the news and cranny?
This one will just be, it will be a yes or no question. Are you going to hold this for the sake of constitutional righteousness? Let us just fulfill all the terms of being a federal state.
Not just a question of, for the purposes of helping to reduce the crime rate level in this country. Look, he who sees it knows it better. The Lagosians will be better off. The people of Oyo State will be better. I am telling you that the police hierarchy know the truth, and until all of us accept that truth,
okay,
then we are just wasting our time. Only that truth will set us free in this country.